Good morning. My name is Vincent Creel. I'm the Public Affairs Manager for the City of Biloxi, and I'm on the board for the Salvation Army of the Gulf Coast. We are here this morning to thank you for being here, and we have an important issue that we want to discuss. On pretty much any given day in downtown Biloxi, you can see a woman who, usually around noon, she starts walking in front of the Harrison County Courthouse as people are coming out, and she makes her way down to the foot of Lemieux Street. Her entire route is dictated by where she sees people. If she sees a person, she goes right to that person to ask them for money. You see it 3 or 4 times a week. Meanwhile, over at the I-110 off-ramp, right there at Bayview, we've had situations where people have actually set up tables, a table and a chair and an umbrella, where they go down there and they work that corner to ask people for money. You see it pretty much across the country at any given major intersection in any city that has a vibrant economy. There are no easy answers to the issue of panhandling. What we've found in Biloxi is we've tried to regulate it, we've tried to permit it. We also have to remember that this is a right of free speech. It is not against the law to beg. So what we're trying to do is come up with different ways to where we can make sure people are being thoughtful as they are approached by a panhandler. So what we're doing today is we're going to call forward the 2 majors from the Salvation Army. The Salvation Army has a lot of experience in dealing with the needy, dealing with the poor, and dealing with people who need help. What we're looking to do is do the most good here in Biloxi. We're looking to arm you with a tool that you can use when you're approached by a panhandler. So now, without any further ado, I'm going to call forward Majors Bradley and Anita Caldwell of the Salvation Army.
Greetings. We have come to the Mississippi Gulf Coast from Waco, Texas. And while we were serving there in the Salvation Army, there was a very unusual development where the television show Fixer Upper began to take on life. And the celebrity status of that show's store there in Waco, Magnolia, brought in tens of thousands of tourists over the weekend to come and see that little mecca for that reality show. And when that tourist population began to increase, panhandlers began to pour into that downtown from all over the place. And the Salvation Army wanted to help those people who were being confronted by panhandlers who didn't know what to do in that moment. And they didn't necessarily want to just give cash, they wanted to figure out how could they do something meaningful. And so we created the Help Card. And the card is designed to give people an informed choice when they meet that person. That they can, instead of giving them cash, direct them to services that will extend beyond the life of that dollar they might put in their hand.
Yeah, so in our 25 years of working with the Salvation Army, we have learned there are many different types of panhandlers and people who are asking for assistance. There is that person who has an addiction and who is seeking a way to get the funding that they need to be able to help their addiction. The second type is the person who actually has a beautiful home and car, and we call that a career panhandler. In Texas, the top dollar was $80,000 in my research. Here on the coast, we find and hear that we have one that's even making over $100,000. So there is tutorials. If you go and do the search online, you'll find the tutorial that shows you what you need, where you should stand, what clothing to wear, what words on your sign, and you should have a little dog with you if possible. So, and usually the panhandler has a 4.5 years that they've been doing this. When you and I see the sign for the first time, we think that they just arrived and they have nothing to eat. But no, they've generally been doing that 4.5 years. So, and then a very sinister group, I would say, is when one person gathers a group of 3 or 4 or even more. We've heard them here on the coast, and they control the people. And so they might drive up to a parking lot, 10 people get out of a van, they're all asking for the money, they get back in the van, the one person in that van is controlling that dollar. And that's a bit of a trafficking situation from my point of view. So, and then there's the real needy person. And really that is what this card is all about. That really needy person. Last year we found one young man who actually needed help to get home. And he had arrived in Texas seeking a prosthetic leg. Somebody stole that from him. And after some communication, he came to the Salvation Army. After some conversation with him, we called his mom. She was so happy to find him, and we were able to actually put him on the bus and get him back to his mom. So that is what this card is designed for. It does inform people, and we're happy to speak to any organization, any local civic club, any business about the types of panhandling. But then we would like to put these in the hands of anyone who would like a card, who would feel like that could really truly help a person who is in need find their way to that local social service agency that can help them. So that's the hope, and we thank you today for the opportunity to share this information with you and to give the community of Biloxi a way forward and just one piece of the puzzle. Thank you very much. Do you have any questions?
There's one thing that I hope everyone remembers from this, and that is this. When a visitor comes into our community, they will see people on the street corner asking for money. The bottom line is we have a tapestry of services that are available here in Biloxi, Gulfport, Ocean Springs, D'Iberville. We have a number of social service agencies that provide meals, they provide clothing, they provide prescriptions, they provide a host of services. So what the goal with this card is to make sure we can connect the panhandler or the homeless person with the services that are available. We are not telling anybody not to give money, but what we are saying is sometimes when you give money, you may be contributing to the issue. You may be contributing to the problem. So the best thing that we can advise people to do is make an informed decision when you are approached by someone. Would that not be true? Do you want to expand?
That's exactly right. We certainly want to say that we're not against helping people. We're about helping people in the most useful way possible. And we tell people to follow your conscience, but the card also provides you an alternative to simply giving out cash. It's actually a way to guide people to services that will help them beyond your connection with them. And that's our hope.
Now the card, you will notice, this is not just a Biloxi issue. The card will take you to the Lord is My Help in Ocean Springs. It will also direct you to Seashore Mission on Division Street. It will direct you to Our Lady of Fatima, St. Vincent de Paul, where there's just an array of services available. And then you can go to Loaves and Fishes over on Water Street or to the Salvation Army over in Gulfport. So the services are there. It's not about the money. It's about hooking people up with the services that they need. And it's a level of comfort for John Doe citizen or John Doe visitor to be able to have that card if they choose to use it. So that's what it is. The card has no cash value. They're going to feed you when you go to one of these places. They're going to help you whether you have that card or not.
That's right.
But the big thing is the card helps direct you there. So that's all it is. It's an informed and thoughtful way to deal with the situation when you're approached by someone. We think it's simple. Right now, you can get the cards at the Biloxi Visitor Center. You can get them at the Kroc Center. You can get them at
the Gulfport Outreach on 22nd Street.
Our goal is to make sure we can have as many restaurants, as many visitor-oriented places along the Gulf Coast to where they have these cards, to where a person can just pick it up off the counter and be able to use it.
And if your church or business wants to have the cards available, we can email you a template, a PDF template, where you can print and distribute them yourself. We don't own the card.
There is no simple answer to this, but this is another tool. Right now it falls in the hands of the police department. The police department is not equipped to deal with people who have addictions. They're not equipped to deal with people who have mental problems, but this card will help possibly direct them in the right place where they need to go. It's a team effort using existing services, and it comes with the experience that the Salvation Army has seen in other places. So with that, we're going to conclude the press conference. We're going to ask anybody if they have any questions, or the two majors will be available for interviews. Police Chief John Miller was held up in a meeting this morning, so he was not able to be here, but he is very familiar with this case and with this issue. Just so you'll know, Mayor Gillich has him tracking the number of contacts his officers have with homeless people or panhandlers. There are about 100 of them a week. Now that takes away from the police department, it takes away from the fire department when there's an emergency medical call, and quite frankly, it's a drain on city resources whenever we have to deal with these issues. We're looking to deal with them in a thoughtful manner that gives people the most information, so as the Salvation Army likes to say, so they can do
the most good.
The most good. That concludes everything. I want to thank you all for being here. And that's it. Anything else? No. Okay. Good enough.